Welcome to Soul-Led Creative Women, a podcast for women passionate about personal growth, seeking bold, brave tools to navigate life's ups and downs. So today I have Vasu Tolia with me. Vasu is a self-taught artist who embarked on her artistic journey after retiring from the medical field. Her work serves as a bridge between her diverse life experiences and her passion for visual arts. Through her art, she seeks to capture the essence of humanity, nature, and the ever-evolving world around us. Vasu's work continues to evolve at the intersection of medicine, art, and healing, creating spaces where science meets creativity and wellness finds expression through visual storytelling. So welcome, Vasu.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show, Sam.
No worries. So as sort of your bio really led us into, we're going to be talking today about the intersection of medicine, art, and healing. So first of all, let's start with your creative journey. Tell us about how you got started with painting and what really called you to start this part of the journey.
I'm not sure how it started in the sense that some adverse events happened in my academic life, and I felt that I had to reevaluate what I was doing. So at first, I tried private practice for a while, and then I was not too content with it. It just didn't give me the same feeling of completeness that I had with teaching, mentoring, and research that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, if I don't want to continue this, I have to find other avenues to occupy my time. And that's when I started looking into various things, and visual art was one of them because it's easier to do compared to sculpting and
Mm-hmm.
ceramics and all that. And
Very accessible, isn't it? It's easy to get
I
started.
yes.
Mm.
So it was one of the things that I started with experiment, and it took a lot of patience and several years before I discovered myself, but
Mm-hmm.
I just continued to be at it because I knew that to be, how they say to be good at anything, you need to spend 10,000 hours
Yeah.
in that particular thing. And I
Yeah.
knew I had been it in medicine. So,
Mm-hmm.
but gradually things started falling in place.
Sure.
Uh, Started with representational art, and then it evolved into semi abstract and abstract patterns slowly because I wanted to lose myself in the creativity and not just be confined to a form.
Sure.
So I decided to explore all those things. And to be honest with you, I'm still experimenting and
Yeah.
trying to find myself because I like to learn new techniques and
Yeah.
keep on growing and not just stay static in one particular style.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason why you go back to it, I'm sure. It's that play and exploration, and there's a real vulnerability and discovery to it, isn't there? So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I keep painting. So I can relate to that.
Mm.
Uh, Sorry.
You paint your you
Yeah, I
paint
paint.
yourself.
Yes, 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 I paint too. I
Okay.
mean, that's the thing that I sort of fell in love with. I think, like you, I tried many things, but that was the thing that stuck, and the thing that kept calling me back.
Good.
But it's only through, I think, taking that a bit further, then discovering that actually it was the creative process, something within the process itself, not necessarily about the finished artwork that really, was the most powerful element for me. So I'm sure that probably resonates with you too, considering,
Yeah.
yeah, the angle of your work.
Yeah.
So
You nailed the purpose of making it, that it's the process,
yeah,
not the end.
yeah, it's definitely the process. So the overarching theme of your work then, in both medicine and now in art, they're both focused around healing. So have you always been a healer? Tell us about the healing aspect of your work.
My understanding of the relationship between art and healing has been honestly profoundly shaped by my journey from being a doctor in the past. And this perspective evolved from a purely scientific way to a more holistic understanding that integrates both medical knowledge and artistic insight. As a pediatric gastroenterologist, I primarily viewed healing through the lens of medical interventions and innovations because I myself contributed to research and treating many of those diseases or conditions. But I always bore in mind the patient's mental health and the parents' attitudes, when their children were sick, and the emotional support that one needs in the healing process.
Yeah.
I saw how firsthand how a child's outlook and environment could impact their recovery. So when I transitioned to art, and at that point, I don't even think the idea of art as a healing tool had evolved. To be honest with you, we certainly didn't have hallways full of paintings and things like that when I was practicing. But as I began to explore the healing from a different angle via making art, because I found that I myself experienced a lot of calm and
Mhm.
happiness as I was losing myself in a zone while creating it, because it was becoming kind of a meditation for me.
Mm.
S- And then I started to research into how visual stimuli, colors, and artistic expressions can influence a person's emotional state, and by extension, their physical well being also. So it wasn't just an intuitive understanding, but I was able to connect it through my research and medical understanding and learning more about the healing aspects of art by reading up a lot, and I'm hoping to do more research into it and extend my academic background into doing some healing studies.
Yeah, sure. So how have you had to heal yourself then, in order to, be a healer for others, whether it's through medicine or art? What's your healing journey been like?
It's been wonderful because after I have discovered this connection and have experienced it firsthand, I have seen that art has the power to reduce stress,
Mhm.
inspire, and create environments that can be conducive to healing or providing comfort. You know, like you feel more comfortable if you see something that you find to be serene while you are in a stressful situation, like in
Mhm.
a hospital waiting room or a lounge at the airport or something like
Mhm.
that. Your flight is delayed and you are stressed and anxious. If something calm is there, it might help you deal with the situation a little better. And mm, art is a form of nonverbal communication, and it allows individuals to find emotions and
Mhm.
things there, or just process it in a way that they might struggle to articulate verbally. So I think it's a very powerful tool for healing.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that, Vasu. Yeah, and I would say, the communication could probably extend to a communication with our spirit and our soul, right? When we're immersed in this, artistic expression, in particular, when we're involved in the process, it's like we're having a conversation with, a much wiser part of ourself, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm. So when did you realize that you needed to let go of your identity within the medical field and sort of embrace, art as part of your future? Tell us a bit about what the catalysts for that were.
I would have to say it was about 5 to 7 years in my journey, especially during COVID time,
Mm.
when I started to liberate myself from the confines of representational art, move to semi-abstract and abstract artwork. And that's when there was a call for COVID art from Washington Post, and I submitted an artwork, and they accepted it and listed it as top 20 in the nation,
Oh,
which
wow.
I was I was immensely pleased that a
Yeah, that's
piece of
so good. Well, it's actually, so brave to actually submit in the first place. I mean, there's a lot of resistance to submitting, isn't there? So, yeah,
yes,
wow.
yeah.
That's so good.
You always feel whether you're good enough or not,
Mm. Mm.
you should do it or not.
Mm.
Then the year after that, CDC contacted me and said they wanted to use that artwork on the cover of the journal. of emerging infectious diseases.
That's so good.
Yes, it was a huge moment for me. Like,
Hmm.
my art and medicine, they were both coming together and
Mm.
huge reward. So
It's
I,
like
I
a
look
sign,
forward
right? It's like a sign sent to you to say, yes, you're on the right path, Vasu. Keep
exactly,
going.
exactly that
Mm.
you keep trudging ahead and things will happen in the sense that now I do many solo shows, almost a solo show every year for last 5 years, and I create arts on different themes, and it
Mm.
gives me a lot of joy and pleasure to do this.
Yes. And I'm sure that your medical experience must somehow be infused in your art. We don't even if we've moved on from practicing, in the same way, in terms of work, it's still part of us, right? So tell us about how medicine and art complement each other within the work that you're doing.
Mhm. I think the combination of both makes healing more holistic.
Mhm.
Not just the allopathic medicine part of it, but also the healing. It's like not the meditation, the way you sit down with breathing and focus and all that,
Mm.
but meditation in a different way.
Mm.
Like, as I'm sure you have experienced it, that when you are there, you don't care about time. You are just creating and passing your time and experimenting and doing whatever you want to. And the best part of it is that if you didn't like something, if things didn't go the way you wanted it to, you can always just cover it up with journal and start insulate again.
Mm. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that gives you a lot of freedom of perception that, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to do it and see how it evolves. And if it doesn't evolve the way I like it, then I will redo it, or either the whole of it or only certain parts of it.
Mm.
So that way I feel it gives you a chance at reinventing yourself again and again.
Mhm.
And it it's like a visual focal point for meditation to creating a sense of connection and meaning.
Mm.
Because this gives a new purpose to my life, that I'm not static
Mm.
after one career that was stellar, but now I'm finding my another, second act
Yes.
that's equally meaningful and probably as fulfilling as the first one.
Yeah.
So that way I feel it heals me.
Mm.
And when it heals me, I hope I'm able to heal others also.
Mm. Yeah, it's a brave leap. I mean, I can really relate to it, but there's sort of like a point in time where you have to sort of trust the unknown and step into it, which it sounds like you've done. It's very powerful, though, to reinvent yourself in that way. A lot of people are too scared to do it. What would you say to people who are too scared?
I think people should just come forward and think of their first act as a seed from which you can grow
Mhm.
and become something different. Use all those advantages, all the things you learned as an advantage, to start a new something, and just don't look back. And
Mm.
but have to evaluate and see whether it gives you happiness or not. You
Yeah.
know, or trying to take your mind off what your current focus is and want to try something new, either because you're not happy or you feel you need to have another outlet to become more creative.
Mhm.
I think you have to evaluate, as you go along and start dabbling in things that, is this making me happy? Is this the way I want to go? Is it working out the way I want it to? Or should I think of something else? Or
Mm.
just more time and decide what to do? For, people who have a job for a living, just giving up a career is not easy.
No.
Even if they're happy, they
Yeah.
need to, you know, have a living and supporting family if you have one. So it's not that easy to just give up something and start something afresh. Sometimes they have to go parallel to each other and see. the way they go and
Mm.
then how it pans out. But I think those who want to, especially women, we are always, reserved in our choices for creating. What will people say? And is this going to be good enough? Or will I be considered worthy again? Like from being a doctor to being a visual artist. But I think both the careers are equally powerful.
Mm.
Isn't like being a doctor makes me a better person or a
Yes.
more person than being an artist, because I
Yes.
think all human lives and all human vocations deserve same respect.
Yes.
You just want to be the best at what you want to be, the best you can. So I think those who want to follow the creative passions later in life, I would just urge them and tell them it's never too late to begin. Like I found my calling to be an artist after a long career, and it was a great career, fulfilling.
Mm.
At first, I hesitated, wondering if it was worth it and
Mhm.
whether I should be doing something like that. But I quickly realized that every life experience I have had, both personal and professional, have actually enriched my creative journey. And
Mm.
that shaped my artistic vision now. And it gives me a different depth and perspective than I would have had at a younger age, when I was just focused on a
Yeah.
single thing.
Yeah.
So, any woman wanting to consider, or anyone wanting to consider a new creative path, I would say embrace your past as a source of inspiration, not a limitation.
Mm.
I think age brings wisdom, and with it, a unique voice that can powerfully influence your art. So, I would just follow the passion passionately.
Mm. So why do you think that, considering that all things are equal, right? Why do you think art has won for you at this in this season of your life? Why is art leading the way?
Art is leading the way right now because even though I still consult in the medicine, it's really become a much less important part of my life right
Mhm.
now. And I feel that I have found that second career that gives me a lot of joy and fulfillment.
Sure.
And my other thing about my art is that, Sam, that I'm using it also as a mission, or I'm using it as a vehicle to fulfill my missions, I should say.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to, and some of my missions are women's empowerment and protecting the planet, medical research, helping kids with autism. So I donate a portion of the sales from my website to these charities that the
Mhm.
customer can choose, and being able to give back to the community and society that way, giving a helping hand to whatever the focus of those missions that resonate with me, makes me feel more fulfilled
Yeah,
and
sure. Yeah, it's very
happy
powerful.
about being able to do that.
Mm. And, it must, I guess, as you move along the journey, maybe art sort of helps you to show more of yourself and allow more of kind of your soul to shine out into the world, right? Which is very powerful in itself. So, I mean, that's what I'm getting when I'm listening to you. So hopefully that resonates. Mm. So, how do you take care of yourself then? Obviously, creativity must be a huge part of that, but tell us about how you look after yourself, and what your routine looks like in terms of caring for Vasu.
We travel a lot. I
Mhm.
listen to lots of audiobooks. I belong to a couple of book clubs,
Mhm.
and I like it because that makes me read books that I might not have selected myself. So it kind of broadens my vision. The literature and all those things are always good for your creativity and for your soul.
Mm.
It's literary arts is also a huge thing, as like if you were not creating something like a painting, you could be writing, a poem, which I do at times. So I do that when I'm traveling. I usually don't paint, but I will write more.
Mhm.
And we love to travel a bit, see different places, and get, I find nature the biggest inspiration.
Mhm.
And uh, Also, it's so beautiful, to want to create something that you saw in nature. You cannot exactly copy ever, on any surface or any way, but to be able to represent what you saw and experienced when
Mm.
saw a particular scene in whatever way, or you saw some people or something in a different culture appeal to you, to be able to represent it in some way through my art is, what I enjoy.
Yeah.
Besides that, I just meeting friends, because I think being social is very important
Hmm.
part of being staying healthy, having real friendships. So that's how we do, you know, things, and I'm very happy doing that.
Yes. So for all the women out there then who want to, do some more healing and, I guess have that conversation with their soul, what powerful questions would you have them ask themselves today?
I would ask them to ask themselves is, how has your journey been so far? Whatever you have doing, has it motivated you, fulfilled you? And how, in what way can you inspire and empower women if it's one of your goals, or empower yourself to become more powerful? And how would you be mindful about your creative process, in the sense that doing something just beyond your particular job to enrich your mind more? How would you approach it mindfully? And always follow creative passions, no matter what they are, whether it's sewing, knitting, cooking, whatever, makes you happy and
Mm,
gives you pleasure. You must do it without hesitation,
mm,
along with whatever your other passion is, and have some commitments, make your passion a purpose,
mhm,
and give back to the community and society in the best way you can. And
mm,
that's very individual. You
mm.
can't really specify what one should do, because
No,
everybody has to do it according to how it fits in their lives.
sure. But I think, you'd probably agree that creativity is, a huge part of that, right? It's a way to return back to ourselves and to empower ourselves, right? And I think that helping people realize, that creativity isn't sort of a nice to have or it shouldn't be bottom of the priority list, that it's really important, is kind of part of it, right?
Absolutely.
So how can people get to know you better, Vasu, and get a real feel for your paintings? I've seen some of your beautiful abstract paintings and get a feel for the work that you're doing.
Sure. They can visit my website at www.vasutolia.art. And I have a special gift for your listeners.
Hmm.
It's my 2025 calendar on women's empowerment. It has a painting of a woman, one of my paintings of women on each of the 12 pages, and there is an actionable quote with it
Okay,
as for every month.
so good.
It would really be helpful for them to keep that inspiration flowing.
Sounds very powerful. Excellent. Thank you so much for coming and chatting to me today, Vasu. Really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Sam, for having me. It's been a pleasure to chat with you.
Hey, Sam here. Thanks so much for listening to the end. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Join my free soul-led creative community and gain access to free guides and resources, plus exclusive events and workshops, all from within the members area. This is your chance to connect with me and other like-minded souls. Please head to samhorton.co/community. Take care.